The king is only one, and if there is only one, you put the king, and one of his cars, right? One of his cars should be plural. One, if you say one of, then the noun should be plural. One of his cars is red, and he likes to ride only. He likes. Remember the concept again. He likes to ride only in Monday. It's not in Monday. It is on Monday. So generally describe verb. Like for example, he quickly eats. See, he quickly eats. So this is eats. This is verb. This is count. How many mistakes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Around 12 mistakes only on this 70 word paragraph. So if you are making 10 or 12 mistakes when you are writing these 70 words, then imagine the level of mistakes that you are going to make if you have to write 230 words, 240 words. Right? For example, on is used on the surface, screenshot platform. Let's say, for example, I saw, after adjective, all this yet will use if the result is surprising. Like for example, I don't study well, yet I passed PTE with 70. So remember, common. Another confusion would be of you or few, right? So of you, let's say again, it's a positive, meaning you have something left. Of you is almost none. Like let's say I have a few apples, then I would assume that you have 1 apple or 2 apples. You say I have few apples, then I would assume you don't have any apples. Next, I have a question. Do you think the money is countable or uncountable noun? Money. Can you count money? Countable or uncountable? Think about it. Tense, and then in the present tense. Hello everyone, welcome to the PTE grammar series. And grammar is one of the most important skills that you need to develop if you want to achieve a very high score in PTE, right? So it's applicable for both PTE Academics and PTE Core. Generally, what I see is majority of the students, they focus on shortcuts like templates, structures, vocabs, and stuff like that, but they overlook grammar. Because of that reason, those grammatical errors will cost multiple attempts for them. It will cost their money, time, resource, and everything, right? So today we're going to learn what exactly and what are the key grammar concepts and skills that you need to develop in order to achieve a very high score. So what you will learn in this series, right? So in this series, we will cover all major grammar concepts like basics, how to identify noun, verb, adverb, and adjective, and how to use them in a correct way. So you will learn subject-verb agreement concept. You will learn tense, voice, articles, prepositions, gerunds, conjunctions, demonstrators, quantifiers, and stuff like that. All the major concepts that you need to ace very high score in your PTE Academics and PTE Core. So let's not waste the time. Straight away, let's go to and learn about some of the key concepts. You need to learn how to identify noun, verb, adverb, and adjective. So this is the basics of English language. So these are the basic word structure that you need to identify and use them practically, right? So how to identify them? Let's learn what are these. Okay, is noun, right? So in school, I think you guys might have learned that noun is a name of a person, place, things, or idea. Like for example, Australia is noun, right? And then for example, India is noun. For example, house is noun. It talks about the thing, right? It talks about the place name, right? So those are noun. So in PTE Academics, there are certain things that you need to use so that you can identify the noun very correctly. So like if you put my or your or thus or this in front of that particular word, and if that makes sense, then that is noun. For example, let's say this house. See, so this house is making sense, right? So now house is noun. For example, let's say this one, this swim. For example, you say, in order to identify whether swim is noun or not, so put this swim. Does that make sense? No, right? So for example, the swim or your swim. If that making sense? No, right? So anyone, either my or your or the or this, if that makes sense, then that is noun. Okay. So now what is verb? So verb shows the actions or state of being of that particular noun, right? So noun is something that is person or place, whatever you call it, and then verb is the action of the noun. What noun is doing, that the action of the verb is described. Noun is described by the verb. For example, how to identify? Like for example, showing the verb, right? So like for example, let's say swimming is verb, right? Eating is verb. It shows the action, right? But how to identify in a correct way? There's a way, right? Put I am and then that particular word and ing, if that makes sense, that is verb, or simply put to in front of that particular word, and if that makes sense, then that is verb. Like for example, let's say whether this is eat is verb or not. Now let's put this in this concept. I am eating. See, now I am eating. This is perfectly making sense, right? So now this is verb. For example, to eat. Does it make sense? To eat. Yes. Now this is verb. Like if you put the eat, does it make sense? No, right? So that's why it is not a noun, right? So now we learn about what is noun, what is verb. Now let's learn about adjective. So what is adjective? Adjective is something which describes noun. So now let's say it describes the quality of the noun. That is also one way. So like how the noun is, for example, boy, right? Boy is noun. So now how is that boy? Boy is good or bad? Let's say good boy. If you say good boy, then this good is adjective. Because why? This good is denoting the quality of the boy. So bad boy. So you say the girl, right? The girl is noun. So let's say beautiful girl. So if you say this beautiful is adjective. So adjective is nothing but that describes noun, or that describes the quality of the noun, right? So let's learn what is. So now how to identify, right? So just put very in front of that particular word, and then if that makes sense, then that is adjective. For example, beautiful. Now you need to identify whether that beautiful is a noun, verb, adverb, or adjective. Now let's put very. See, very, you put very beautiful. Yes, makes sense. Yes, correct. Now this is adjective. For example, either way is put it is in front of that particular noun, particular word, and then if that makes sense, then that is again the adjective. Like for example, it is bad, for example, bad. So now bad, it is bad, it makes sense, right? So now bad is adjective. Like for example, it is, let's see like swimming, right? Let's swim. For example, swim, if it is adjective or not, just put it is swim. Like let's say it is swim. Does it make sense? No, right? Very swim, for example. Does it make sense? No, right? So then swim or swimming is not adjective, it is verb. Okay. Now what is adverb? Adverb is a word that describes a verb or adjective or another adverb. So generally adverb ends in ly. Okay. So if there is a sentence where there is ly at the end, then that is adverb. Like for example, clearly, patiently, beautifully, respectfully, nicely, all those coming ly, that is adverbs. So there are other word rules also, like for example, very, to, always, never, often, now, soon, all those are adverbs. Okay. So this is how you're gonna learn how to identify noun, verb, adverb, and adjective. Let's quickly do recap. Let's say for example, if you put the or my in front of that particular word, if that makes sense, then now. Okay, quickly recap. Now you put I am dash ing or to in front of that particular word, and if that makes sense, then that is verb. Okay, and then put very or it is, and then if that makes sense, then that is adjective. Like for example, very handsome. Okay, and then put. So, and for how to identify adverb ends in ly. Generally, if the word, if the spelling of the word that ends in ly, then that is adverb. Like for example, nicely. Okay, the example is like the or my, the noun. So the moon is noun, right? Oh, I am, like for example, eat, I am eating, or to eat, right? So very handsome and nicely, right? So these are the basic ways that you need to learn and identify to implement to identify noun, verb, adverb, and adjective. Quickly say like what are their application. Noun describe the noun, person, place, things, right? So this verb describe the state of being of the noun, like what is the action that noun is doing it. So verb will describe. What is adjective? What is the application of adjective? It describe the quality, or it describe the quality of the noun, or it describes the noun, right? So whether noun is good, bad, handsome, ugly, or whether the state of being of the noun is determined or is defined by adjective. And what is the use of adverb? Adverb can describe verb, and adverb can describe another adverb, adjective. Adverb can also describe another adverb, right? So all these three can be the application of adverb. Okay, so let's do the assessment question quickly. Teacher, what is teacher? Teacher, put the teacher, right? It makes sense. Just put two teacher. Does it make sense? No, right? So now teacher is now. Okay, quickly. Insin ly, adverb, right? Let's see. Run, to swim. Makes sense. To run, makes sense? Yes. This is verb. Happy, very happy. So makes sense, right? It is adjective. Okay. Loudly, insin ly. This is adverb. And then similarly you can say loudly, right? And then kindness, see, kindness, kind, he is very kind. Kind is adjective, kindness is noun. Okay, so now if you put ness in front of that adjective, after adjective, all this coming ness will turn to be noun. Like for example, kindness, happiness, forgetfulness. So all those coming ness at the end of the sentence, at the end of the word, then this will be noun. Okay. Or for example, the kindness, right? Let's say the kindness of president took us to a positive outcome. See, the kindness, it is perfectly making sense, right? So to right. Then this is verb. Strong, very strong, right? Very strong. So this is adjective. So, and then similarly you can practice this one, right? So now is how to use that, right? What is the application? Why we are learning it, right? So now let's learn the quick application of how this verb, adverb, adjective, and adverb works, right? So now let's say after a noun, verb appears. For example, he eats a pizza. See, this is noun, right? Noun, pronoun, whatever you call it. So after a noun, if there is a blank, then your eyes should go only to the option for verb. Generally, right? After a noun, generally verb appears. See, he eats a pizza. Similarly, before a noun, adjective can come, right? For example, boy. Boy is noun. Before a noun, the good boy. See, the geese, good. This is adjective. For example, when you are solving the blanks, there is a noun here, noun. And then before that noun, if there is a blank, then there will be a chances that it is a adjective, right? And then like after a noun, adjective can also come after is, are, am, where is used. For example, the beautiful girl. This is also correct. The girl is beautiful. This is also correct. See, after a noun, so this is noun. Before a noun, adjective can come, and then the adjective can also come after is, are, am. So the girl is beautiful. This is a noun. After that, it is, am, are is there, and after that the adjective can come. So right. So if there is, am, are, also you can see if there is a blank, adjective can also come. Okay, and then so adverb come in front or after the verb. So adverbs generally describe verb. Like for example, he quickly eats. See, he quickly eats. So this is eats. This is verb. This is adverb. So it shows how he eats, right? And then he eats quickly. This is also correct. He eats quickly, also correct. He quickly eats. He eats quickly. Both are correct. So adverb can come before verb and after verb also. Like this is verb. And if there is a blank here, in both of the cases, if there is a blank, then you can see and look for the options if there is adverb. And then if there is an adverb, there's only one adverb, then you can put it. If there are multiple adverbs, then you need to understand the context, right? So this is how. So now adverb can now adverb will never come for a noun, right? So like for example, he is quickly. What? It doesn't make any sense, right? So adverb will never come for noun. Adverb can come for another adverb also. He is extremely good. And then adverb can come also for another adjective, like how good he is. He is extremely good. This extremely, it is denoting how good he is. It is saying how good he is. He is extremely good. So this is adjective, and then this is adverb, and then this is adjective. Right? So it can describe even verb. It can describe even adjective. Right? So now another concept is how to form a sentence. Okay, so forming sentence is very, very important. Why? Because forming sentence, you need to use these skills in writing essay, in writing email, in writing summarized spoken text, in writing summarized spoken text, summarized written text, on all the cases, right? So let's learn how to form a sentence. So now generally sentence in English language, the sentence is formed with subject, verb, and object. So there should be subject, verb, and object. So even, for example, the boy, this is a subject, kick the ball. If in this sentence, the boy is the subject, kick is verb, the ball is object. Like for example, even if you don't want to put the object, if you want to remove this ball, even says the boy kicked, this is also the correct sentence. At least there should be subject and verb. Okay. Now, what are the type of sentences in English grammar? There are 4 types of sentences. The first one is, you don't need to like memorize it. Okay, just sharing you for the sake of your skills. Declarative sentences. So like it states the fact, opinion, or idea. For example, I am learning English. So you are declaring something, right? So you state the fact, opinions. And then interrogative sentences, meaning asking questions. Are you coming? Right? So something like that, right? How are you? So those are interrogative sentences. And then imperative sentences, to give command or request. Like for example, please pass the salt. Please come here. Please go there. Please do this. Please study correctly. So those are the imperative sentences. And exclamatory sentences, to show the emotions. Oh, I can't believe this. Oh, this is so sad. Something like that, right? You show your strong emotions or surprises. That in that context, this is exclamatory sentences. You don't need to worry about it. The only thing that in PTE you need to understand only 3 types of sentences, because you need to use this type of sentences when you are writing essay, when you are writing email, when you are writing summarized spoken text, and then when you are writing summarized written text. Okay, so what are these? Now you need to write in English language, there are 3 types of sentences: simple sentence, compound sentence, and complex sentence. So what is simple sentence? Simple sentence is the sentence which is one independent clause and which talks about only one idea. For example, I am teaching grammar. See, so this is only one sentence, right? So and one complete sentence. So now this is simple sentence, right? What is compound sentence? If you connect those 2 simple sentences with the fanboys or coordinating conjunctions, if you call it coordinating conjunctions, then that is called the compound sentence. For example, I am teaching grammar and I am listening music, for example. Music. See, if you connect these 2 sentences with fanboys, and now this becomes the compound sentence. For example, fanboys. So what is fanboys? F equal to for, A equal to and, N equal to nor, B equal to but, O equal to or, Y equal to yet, S equal to so. Fanboys. F A N B O Y S. So this is coordinating conjunction, guys, which will connect 2 different ideas to form one sentence. So for example, I want to go to the school and I want to learn English. See, so this is one independent sentence. This is another independent sentence. You put fanboys in between, and then it becomes compound sentence. She wanted coffee, but she preferred tea. See, this but is fanboys or coordinating conjunction. It shows the contrast, right? So now, what is a complex sentence? So complex sentence is the sentence which is prepared by combining 2 things. One is independent clause and one is dependent clause, or you can simply say one cause or effect. What is dependent clause? Dependent clause is the clause which is dependent upon another ideas. For example, in this sentence, although it was raining, we went for a walk. Like for example, if you remove this, we went for a walk, although it was raining, then so what? This is dependent clause, meaning only this one will not make a complete sentence. So that's why you need to add two different ideas, one dependent clause and one independent clause, to form a sentence. So in that context, if you are forming the sentence by doing this, then that is complex sentence. Although it was raining, we went for a walk. Despite not studying hard, I passed PTE, right? Despite going through the hard times, I still managed to earn a living. All those, right? Although it was hot, we went for a walk, right? So all those kind of things which consist independent clause and dependent clause, then if you form a sentence with this, then it is called a complex sentence. You can simply say cause and effect. Cause and effect. What is the cause here? Raining was the cause. What is the effect? Even we go for a walk, right? So in this context, so we use complex. Yeah. So now let's quickly do the assessment. I went to the market and bought some vegetable. What is the sentence here? This is compound sentence. Why? Because there is a fanboy here, right? So although it was raining, we decided to go for a walk. What is this type of sentence? It is a complex sentence. Why? Because we have dependent clause here and then independent clause here, right? And then she practiced the piano every day. So this is the simple sentence because there is only one idea, right? Although she decided hard, so she passed the exam. So fanboy. So this is already the compound sentence, right? So this is how you're gonna learn. Okay. Although the internet was done, I could not submit that. Say this is complex sentence because why? This is, and there's a dependent and independent clause. Okay. So now, fine. So now let's see the another concept called subject verb agreement. This is very, very important. This will help you to write grammatically correct sentences. Okay. So like, what is subject verb agreement? So if in the sentence, if the noun is singular, and if you are talking in the present tense, and for the third person, just put yes after the verb. Like for example, what is third person? I'm talking, right? I'm talking. I'm the first person. I'm talking to someone. Maybe I'm talking to you. In that context, you is the second person. Anything except I and you is third person. For example, house. House is third person. See, house, stores things. For example, stores. See, house is third person singular. So in that context, put yes, right? So the simple way is third person singular. Like for example, she is third person, right? Third person singular. She meaning only one girl. Now she runs. See, she runs. And then they, you are talking more than one girl, maybe two girl, or more than three girl, or four girl, whoever, whatever the number girl is. They meaning more than one. So this is plural. Now, if you want to say something in the present tense, then she runs, they run. So this is true only in the present tense, not in past tense, not in B2, not in B3. So run became a ran, right? Run became a ran. Even runs also became a ran. Run also became a ran in the past tense. So what you need to understand is this is only true in the present tense, and then in the present tense, if the third person is singular, put yes after the verb. If not, then you don't need to put yes. That's the only concept, guys. Remember, this is only true in present tense, and the noun should be singular. So that third person noun should be singular. What is third person? Anything except I and you is third person. Okay, so this is the concept. Let's quickly do and one more concept, right? So subject verb agreement with the relative clause. So what is relative clause or intervening clause? Because it talks about the head noun or the control the verb, like head nouns which control the verb. For example, what is this? You need to match it, right? The building which hosts many parties, the building is here, which hosts many parties, are nice. Which is the correct one? Either is or are. It is. Is correct noun. Correct form. Why? Because we are talking something about the building here. The building is the head noun which controls the verb. See, the building. Forget about the parties. Even though the parties is plural noun, here the context is the head noun, or you can say the acting noun, whatever you call this, head noun is singular. That's why the verb should be singular here. What is the another example? My uncles who have a lot of cars. My uncle who have a lot of cars is very rich because is. I may have more than one uncle, but I'm talking about that uncle who have many cars. See, here the cars is not a head noun. Here the head noun is uncle. See, that's why it is his. So this is how, there's one more example, you can do it on your own, right? So you remember the acting noun or the head noun which controls the verb. So this is also one of the subject verb agreement concept. If the noun is plural, put plural verb, are. If the noun is singular, then put is. So that's how. Let's quickly do the assessment. She always walks to school. What is the correct option? She always walks. She always walks. See, she is third person singular, and then we are talking about the present tense. So she walks. The cat, so it's like she always walks. It's like she runs, right? It's like she runs. The cats, it's like they. Now the cats is they chase, right? Like they run. Remember the concept. My brother likes. My brother is like she likes. See, singular, right? I enjoys reading mystery novels. I is first person, right? So this subject verb agreement concept will not apply here. So that's why I enjoy. And then they visit or visits their grandpa every weekend. They visit because they is plural. It rains or rains. It rain or rains. It is singular. That's why rains. It rains every day during the monsoon, right? So this is John and Sarah walk or walks. John and Sarah is like they. They walk at the same company, not walks. They walk, right? So this is how you can do your own. So let me quickly test the understanding of subject verb agreement, and then also the understanding of noun, verb, adverb, and adjective. I'll give you 2 minutes, guys. So now let's solve this blank. Okay, the new city development project shows a significant progress. The government believes that after this, what comes? Noun comes. Now you need to identify noun here. Develop is noun? No, it is verb. Development, it is verb. What is development? Development, it is noun. Because put the in front of that noun, it is development, right? The development. Developer is also noun. Developing is verb. So now we know that the noun should come here. Now the only option for you is development and developer. Now you need to read the context. The new city development project shows significant progress. The government believes that this developer, no, right? We are talking about the whole process. That process is the development process. So development is the correct one. Will benefit local communities. Okay. It is important to plan to avoid future mistakes. Now what will come here? So what is this plan? Plan is verb. So before and after verb, what comes? Adverb comes. Now you need to identify adverb here. So now what is adverb? Adverb generally ends in ly. So just look at the options here. How many options are there? There are 4 options. Among these 4 options, what is adverb? Careful? No, it's not an adverb. What is careful? Verb. What is careful? Careful is noun, right? What is care? Care is verb, right? Carefully, ly, ends in ly. Caring is verb, so ly. So now just you can put option here. To plan carefully to avoid future mistakes. Or design park. See, design park. This is also verb here. Now you need to identify adverb here. So adverb will come which will design or which will describe the verb. So now what is adverb? Ends in ly. So ly, only beautifully. So this is also one of the concepts here. And then now children play while parents relax nearby. Children play what? So now play is also verb now. After verb, what comes? Adverb comes. So what is adverb here? How many adverbs are here? Happily, sadly. 2 adverbs are there because happier is not adverb, happiness is not adverb. So happily and sadly. What comes here? Children play sadly. Does sadly comes? No, right? Because here the correct option is happily, because if children plays happily, then parent will relax nearby. That's why you need to read the context to identify. So children play happily while parents relax nearby. So for this one, you guys can solve on your own and then write it in the comment section so that I can check your answers and let you know. So what are articles, right? So articles is like a, an, and the. So these are 3 words which is placed in front of the noun, which to denote whether that particular noun is general or specific. So that is the definition of article. So you don't need to like worry about the definition. Okay, so you just need to know like what are the types of articles and their applications and why we are learning it, because it will help you to write grammatically correct sentences when it comes to the extended writing in PTE Academics and PTE Core. Like for example, in PTE Academics, you need to write essay, right? Summarize spoken text, summarize written text, and also like write from dictation, also doing listening, fill in the blanks. So in all those cases it will help. Also in like reading, fill in the blanks as well as, right? So this area it will help, right? In PTE Core also, if you are writing email, so if you know how to use articles correctly, then chances of making grammatical error will get reduced. So this is why we are learning it. So now in English grammar, so let me like add new slide, right? So let's see. In English grammar, so there are two types of article. Okay, two types. So what are articles? So a and the. Okay, so these three words that is placed in front of noun. So noun, for example, noun. So it is noun. In front of noun, either you need to put a, an, or the. So depending upon the type of the noun, so you need to choose which articles will fit here. Okay, so we will learn like how to choose and then how to fit the articles here. For example, if I write boy, so it could be a boy also, the boy also, right? The boy also. So now depending upon the context and depending upon exactly the context, you need to put whether it is a boy or the boy, right? So this is exactly which we are going to learn. So let's go to the fundamentals. So what is the fundamentals? Now you need to understand there are two types of articles. The one is definite article, and another one is indefinite article. So definite article is only the. So if the is considered as definite article. Why we are considered as definite article, we will learn that later. And a and n is considered as indefinite article. So indefinite article meaning if you put a and n in front of that particular noun, that particular noun is not known to the speaker and listener. For example, I say a boy. If I write a boy, right, in our previous example, so I don't know like which boy I'm referring to. But if I say the boy, then I expect that the boy that I am talking is known to me, that I am talking, and known to my listener. Like for example, if you are listening and if I say the boy, and then I would assume that that boy is known to me and known to you, right? Or we are talking about some specific objects or some specific noun. So in that context, we use the. So for now, you need to understand a and n is indefinite article and the is definite article. Okay, so this is what the difference between the definite and indefinite article. Okay, so now let's quickly move on. So let's see what are the use case and applications, right? So or an, or and, right? So or is used in front of the noun which is countable noun which starts with the consonant sound. What I mean by consonant sound? So in English language there are two types of letters, right? Two types of letters. So one is vowel, another one is consonant, right? So vowel, what is vowel? A, E, I, O, and U. So these five letters are vowel letters, and consonant letter, anything except A, E, I, O, U, all are consonant. So what I mean by consonant sound, meaning will use in front of the singular countable noun which starts with consonant sound. So meaning, for example, boy. So in our previous example, boy, right? Boy is countable noun, start with consonant sound, right? It's not the letter which decide, it's the sound which will decide. Like for example, a boy, right? And in contrast, an is used in front of the noun, countable noun, which starts with vowel sound. Like for example, eagle, right? Eagle. So we'll say an eagle. See, an eagle. We'll not say a eagle because it's E, A, E, I, O, U. It's E, right? E sound is coming. For example, MBA, right? MBA. For the classic example would be MBA. If I say MBA, it starts with M. M is like kind of consonant sound, right? But we should say N. And MBA, right? MBA. M start with MBA, right? It will start with M. Like for example, euro. EURO. For example, if you say euro, then you should say a euro. or euro, not an euro, because even though it start with E, when you pronounce, you say euro, 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 right? So those will be the consonant sound it is coming. So the key takeaway here is there are, so for the applications of A and N, okay, let me rub this. Let me rub this. Got, huh? Yeah. So now the application would be, let's go quickly. Let's go quickly down, 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 A and N, right? So now, yeah. So for example, we use indefinite article. Indefinite article is A and N with singular nouns, right? When the listener reader does not know exactly which one we are referring to. That's why these are called indefinite article, because that is not known to the listener and the speaker. So for example, police are searching for a 14-year-old girl. See, a 14-year-old girl. So we don't know which 14-year-old girl is. That's why a 14-year-old girl. We cannot say police are searching for the 14-year-old girl, because if we say the, then there should be some specifics about this girl, right? We also use it to show the person or a thing is one of the group. Like she is a pupil. See, pupil at London Road School, for example. Police have been looking for a 14-year-old girl who has been missing since Friday, right? So this is a 14-year. We don't know the specific. Now we do not use an indefinite article. Indefinite, we use an indefinite article with plural nouns or uncountable nouns. Like for example, she was wearing blue shoes. So shoes, right? Shoes is plural noun. Always plural noun. We are not saying a shoe. No, shoes is always writing is plural, right? Shoes, right? And then she has short blonde hair. So here is this countable? No, right? So in uncountable noun, we are not using a or an. Because uncountable noun, we are not using this one. We can use the, but depending upon the context which we will learn, right? So the key takeaway here is or will use in front of countable singular noun. And countable singular noun starting with the consonant sound. And is used in front of countable singular noun. The sound start with vowel. So that is the takeaway. Okay. So like for example, and before a vowel sound, right? Like for example, an orange, an honor. Even though it start with s as a consonant sound, but when we are talking, the sound makes vowel. That we already know. So this is the application of a and n. Like for example, going to the example, cut. For example, in our previous example here, if you write, let's say I have ball. I have a ball. I have balls. See, so these three. In these three sentences, just think through which one is the correct one. I have ball. Is this correct? No, this is absolutely 100% wrong. So since this ball is countable noun, you should write either I have a ball, either you should put a in front of that particular ball, which will denote that the person or I have only one ball, right? I have only one ball. If you don't want to use a in front of the ball, then you need to write I have balls. It means you must have more than one ball. We don't know how many, but you have at least more than one ball. So this is the application, guys. The problem is people will write I have ball, and then their grammar score will go down when they write essay, when they write SST, when they write email, when they write SWT, when they write even listening fill in the blanks, when they do fill in the blanks, when they do write from dictation, when they do listening fill in the reading fill in the blanks. So in this context, people will say I have ball. So this is 100% wrong. So this is where you will be losing your score. Another example could be they have pen. People will write they have pen. So you should write either they have a pen or they have pens. This is the application, guys. Like for example, we can say I have an elephant. For example, you can say you need to write either I have an elephant or I have elephants. But the problem where it happens is people will only write I have elephant. That is where the problem starts. You should write either an elephant or elephants. You shouldn't be only writing I have elephant. If you write only I have elephant, then 100% wrong. This is where majority of the people are making mistakes. Pay attention to this, guys. Okay, so let me drop this. Let me drop this. Now let's go and learn the application of the, right? What is the? So the, now the is definite article. Okay, what I mean by definite article, if I, so the will come, sorry, the is definite article, right? Definite article. So what I mean by definite article, meaning if I put the in front of that particular noun, then that noun is at least known to the speaker that I am talking. If I am talking, then I is known to me, and then it is known to the listener. Like if it is known, if you are the listener, then it is known to you, right? So this is at least the definition, because if I put the in front of that particular noun, this becomes the definite article, meaning which is known. And then the can be used in front of singular noun also, in front of plural noun also, in front of countable noun also, in front of uncountable noun also. Depending upon the context, we can use the in any type of noun. Okay, so what is the major applications of the? Let's go and learn. So there are few rules which we need to use the in front of the nouns. Like for example, one, because there is only one. So if there is only one thing in the entire universe or entire world, then you can put the. Like for example, the Pope is visiting Russia. So in the world, we have only one Pope who lives in Vatican City, right? So currently, I think the Pope is from United States, right? From the United States. So that's why the Pope. Let's say, and the moon is very bright tonight, like the moon. So in, for Earth at least, the moon, we have only one moon, right? So that's why we can say the moon. Like in the context, when you are talking in the like astrology context, or like, you know, talking about the universe, and there are more than one moon, that in that context you can say a moon, but that is very awkward, right? In the general English, we say only the moon. Okay, so if there is only one, then that is the moon. Like for example, the Pope, the king, the king of the United Kingdom, meaning the king. So the king is only one, right? So that's why the king. The president of United States, the president is only one, right? That's why the president. So if there is only one in the context, or if there is only one in the world or universe, then you can put the. So another most important one is the will be used in front of the superlative adjectives. So what I mean by superlative adjective, meaning the most higher one, or okay, like for example, he is the tallest boy. We are not saying he is our tallest boy. The context is, for example, in your class, in our class, maybe there are 5 boys, 5 taller boys. So out of that, one is the most tallest one. Like for example, so if you are referring to this person, then you say the tallest boy in my class. You cannot say our tallest boy. No. If it's a taller boy, you can say a taller boy, because you are referring to either among 5, you are referring to only one. But if you say the tallest boy, then you should, if you are referring to the most tallest boy among those 5 boys, then you need to put the. Like for example, the oldest building, the most beautiful girl, you can say a beautiful girl. So meaning one girl is beautiful, right? You are referring to one girl who is beautiful. But for example, there are 5 beautiful girls. Among them, which one is the most beautiful? You can say the most beautiful girl. If you say the most beautiful girl, then I would assume that out of that 5, you are referring to one girl which is the most beautiful one. So this is the context. Okay. And then there are other rules also. Like for example, if there is only one in the context. So in the context, if that is only one also, in that context also you are using the. Like for example, we live in a small house next to the church, meaning this church, we assume that there is only one church in that particular village. So in that context, you put the church. You are not saying a church. If you say a church, then that is not known. Maybe there could be more than one church. Among them, you are referring to one. But the context here is generally, if you say that my house, I live in a small house, which is next to the church, meaning the church is only one in the village. Right? Dad, can I borrow the car? If my son says, for example, if my son and comes, Dad, can I borrow the car? Then I would assume that he is referring to our family car. Like for example, we have 4 cars in our garage. So 1 car belongs to me, and then 3 cars belong to, let's say, my friend or my brother. Then if my son comes and asks, Dad, can I borrow the car? Then I would assume that my son is asking to ride my car, our family car, not someone else's car. If my son said, Dad, can I borrow a car? Then I will not know which car he is referring to. It could be my car or my family's car or my friend's car or my uncle's car or whoever. We don't know. Right? So if I say the, then I would assume that then it is specific, that belongs to our family. Okay, and then because we have already mentioned it, meaning for example, this is the most important, guys. Like a new slide for this. Like for example, if I say let's say I have a car, and then the car is red in color, for example. Okay, so now just see these 2 sentences. Let's say in my first example, in my first sentence, I say I have a car because I have 1 car, right? That's why a car. Then in my second sentence, I start now with the car. So this the car is referring to this car. Now, if I have to mention this car again in the next context, and if I want to refer my previous car, then I would say the car. I am not saying a car. So that's why I start my sentence with the car. If I say a car is red in color, then I would not know which car I am talking to. That is the problem. The example that I have just given, like for example, because if we have already mentioned it, then we'll put the, like for example, a young man. So a young man got a nasty shock when he tried to rob a jewelry shop in Richmond. So this is my first sentence. So I'm referring to one man who tried to rob a jewelry shop, right? Now, if I have to refer that man again, then I would start my another sentence as the man. So if I say a man again, then I would not know which man I am talking to. So if I say the man, then this is the man that I am talking to, right? So this is where the thing will come, right? So if we have already mentioned it, in the next page we will use the. So similarly, the next concept is, we also use definite article to say something about the things that is referred by a noun, right? So like for example, the wolf is not really a dangerous animal, right? So wolf are not generally dangerous animal, meaning which is not all the things referred to by a noun. So here wolf is a noun. So we use the definite article in a way to talk about the musical instrument. So I'll say, so she is learning the guitar. I am not saying, I don't know. So she is learning the guitar. So I should not say, if I say she is learning a guitar, then that is 100% wrong. If you are talking about the musical instrument, in front of musical instrument, you should use the. So, and if you are referring to a system or a service, then put the. Like for example, the train, the radio. If you are saying the train, then you are referring to the entire train system, right? So that's why the train. I heard it on the radio. On the radio. You are not saying on a radio, right? It's not saying. You are referring to the radio service. So radio service including your small radio, your wavelength, the antenna, and then the broadcasting here. So all these are referring to the services or system. That's why the radio, right? And then the important concept is, we generally will not put the in front of that particular noun. Like for example, we will not say the India. No, right? We are not saying the Australia. No, right? We are not saying that. But there are certain exceptions to this. Like for example, so you can put the in front of those particular countries which name start with like the kingdom, states or republic. For example, the United States. See, the United Kingdom. Sorry, the United States, the Kingdom of Bhutan, the People's Republic of China. So if kingdoms, if states or republic, if these things are coming, then use the. And then for those countries which have a plural nouns, like for example, the Netherlands, see, this is plural name, right? The Philippines, like for example, another word is the Maldives, the Maldives. We are not saying only Maldives, the Maldives. Like for example, here the United States, right? You are not saying the Australia because the names is not coming with like states or republic, right? And then another one is geographical features. In front of such geographical features also you should put the, like for example, the Himalayas, the Amazon, the Atlantic Ocean. So these are the examples, right? And then if you are referring to the well-known buildings or works of art, also you are putting the, like for example, the Empire State Building, the Taj Mahal. You cannot say a Taj Mahal, right? So if you are referring to the organization, like for example, the United Nations, the Secretariat, the Parliament, right? For example, the Supreme Court, something like that, right? And then in front of hotels or pubs, the exception is that if the hotels and pubs is named after the owner, then you should not be putting the. Like for example, Brown's Hotel. If we assume that Brown's is the name of the owner. If the name is named after the owner, like for example, Brown's Hotel, we are not putting the. If not, then you need to use the. Like for example, the Taj Mahal Hotel, right? The Sheraton, the Novotel, right? The Salty Crown Plaza. All of these things, like in front of the families, for example, the Obamas, the Trumps, the Ambanis, the Gaires, the Paudel, the Guptas, all this in front of the families. Before I wrap up the session, I would like you guys to read these sentences. There are at least 4 to 5 sentences, and then you need to identify the problems or mistakes here. So if you are able to identify the problems and mistakes, then I would assume that you guys understand the application of a, and the, and there are certain other concepts of noun pluralization also. The problem is, people will say, sir, I have written the essay very nicely. People will say, sir, I have written the summarized spoken text very nicely. I have taken all the good notes, and then I write very nicely within 65 words. And they will say, sir, I wrote, the essay or the email very nicely if they are writing the PTE Core. But in reality, they will miss all these small details as the way that I have written here. And then they will end up getting 50 in writing, and they will come back and say that, sir, your template is not working. Sir, this thing is not working. Sir, you don't teach me nicely. The problem is not that, guys. The problem is the mistakes, the general mistakes people are making in this sentence, in this paragraph, I would say. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes for you to read this and try to identify the mistakes, and kindly pause this video and try to do within 2 minutes, and then come back and correct it and see is the correct thing. So, okay. So I hope you guys have done this already. Now let's go and see what are the mistakes here. I want to make call to my father. See, make call to my father. So so this is call, right? So call, 1 call, 2 call. You can count the call, right? So you should write either a call or calls. Generally, I want to make a call. So that is the problem here. See, this is one problem here. I want to make a call to my father. He is nicest person I ever know. Nicest person. See, nicest person. This is superlative adjective. In front of superlative adjective, what we just learned, the. Should put the. He is the nicest person that I ever know. That I ever know. He like to go for shopping. See, he likes. So we are talking about the present tense, his habit or behavior. Then it should be, remember the concept that we just learned, the subject verb agreement. He likes. He is a singular noun, right? He is third person singular. So now he likes. Should be he likes to go for shopping, right? For shopping with his friend. With his friend. Friend or friends. Remember our concept, ball or balls. With his friends, right? With his friends. See, then the problem is here. With his friends. And enjoy football. Enjoy football. Now again, third person singular. We are talking about his habit. And enjoys football. See, enjoys football. The problem is here. The people will write enjoy here. And his friend are funny and they keeps. See, his friend. So it is are. Then it should be, the noun should be plural. His friends. His friends are funny, right? His friends are funny and they keeps on checking my father every week. See, they keeps. They is plural. Then remember our subject verb agreement. If it is third person plural, then yes will not come. They keeps. See, the problem is here. They keep on checking my father every week. He have dream to go. He have. See, again he. Remember our concept, he likes. Similarly, he has, right? He has. Third person singular. He has dream, a dream, right? He has a dream. He has, out of many, he has one dream to go to United Kingdom. Again, in front of United Kingdom, remember the concept, we need to put the. He go to the United Kingdom and meet. Remember, the king is only one. And if there is only one, you put the king. The king. And one of his cars, right? One of his cars should be plural. One, if you say one of, then it's the noun should be plural. One of his cars is red, and he like to ride only. He likes. Remember the concept again. He likes to ride only in Monday. It's not in Monday. It is on Monday. So we'll learn this on the preposition concept, whether it is in, on, or at, right? So preposition of time on Monday. See, within this, let's say, for example, so this is 70 words, right? 70 words. Count how many mistakes are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Around 12 mistakes only on this 70 word paragraph. Just imagine you need to write 200 words when you are writing the essay, or more than 200. I would say like 230, 40. When you're writing email, assume that you need to write around 110 words in PTE Core, right? And then summarize spoken text, assume that you need to write around 60 words. And then in summarize written text, you assume that you need to write around 60 words again. Remember, right? So if you are making 10 or 12 mistakes when you are writing these 70 words, then imagine the level of mistakes that you are going to make if you have to write 230 words, 240 words. So the problem is here, guys. The problem is not on the template. The problem is not on your idea generation, I would say. The problem is here. Just fix this. These are the basics. If you understand this, if you can use this correctly, then trust me, guys, your 90% of your grammar mistakes would get solved. I hope this makes sense, guys. So guys, now the next concept is prepositions, right? So let's learn what are the rules and applications and how to use it in the PTE context. So what are prepositions, right? So prepositions, I mean, if you want definition, is a word. Preposition is a word which placed before a noun or a pronoun which shows the relation to the word, other words in a sentence. Okay, don't go for the definition. We don't need to. Like functions, what is the functions? This is important. It talks about the time, place, direction, movement, cause or manner or instrument. And then generally the examples is in, on, at, by, right? So these are the most common examples. Like for example, if there is a table, right? And then there's a book here on the table, here. This is the table. So what you will say? The book is on the table or in the table? The book is over the table or beside the table. So depending upon the context, we use these prepositions. So we will learn what are its implications. Okay. So go down, types of preposition. So the most important is the preposition of time, which we will be spending significant portion of time. Similarly, the position, place, preposition of place or position, preposition of media, it is also important. And then preposition of direction, movement. So this is also important, but this we can guess, right? Where, in, on, into, out, from, towards. So these all are, we can guess. So preposition of manner or method or media, like by. So I'm teaching by, using this by. I'm cutting grass with, sickle, right? So with. So depending upon the context, when you use by, with, so this is also which we are going to learn. So the important one is preposition of time, right? For example, the general confusion is like in 1995 or on 1995. Most of the people are getting confused here. Or in Monday or on Monday, right? So people are getting confused here. So let's learn what are its implications. Okay. So for example, to understand this in or on, so we can, there's a logic here. So let's draw a line, a timeline here. For example, here to here, let's say, okay. So the time starts from here, like let's say this is the timeline, and consider this as a year. Okay, 1 year. Like for example, consider this as 2025. Okay. So now, so if you are referring 2025, consider 1 year. 1 year is considered as a long period, then use in. So if you say like 2025, the long period you use in, let's say in 1995, in 2025, in the decade is considered is also long period. So if you are referring the long period of time, consider it, put in front of that particular one, like in 1995, in 2025, in decade, in century, in 15th century, in 19th century, like that, right? So this is like if we are referring year, or year is considered as a long period, put in, right? So like for example year, and then seasons, right? So like for example seasons, in rainy season, in monsoon, right, in fall. So all these considered are also considered as long period of time. Like for example, generally one season is considered of 3 months, right? So generally rainy season it will consider 3 months, and summer season around 3 months, right? So this is what it is. So if you are considering the long timeline, put in, okay. And then so this year is divided into 12 months, right? So month. So if you consider month is also considered as a long period, so put in, like for example in January, in February, in December, right? So month is also considered as long period. And then after month there will be 4 weeks, right? So weeks is also considered as long, like in third week, in fifth week, something like that, okay. So in is considered like the weeks are also considered as the long period. So now after month or weeks, then there comes the day, right? So there will be 7 days in a week. So for the day you put on. So this is considered as shorter period, considered to long, considered to month or year. Day is considered as shorter period, right? So on Monday, on Tuesday, on Christmas Day, on New Year, on New Year Eve. So if you are referring to the specific day, put on. And then if you are referring to the specific point of the day or the specific time of the day, then put at, right? So at is the point, the specific point. Like for example, let's say at 5 a.m., at 12 noon, right? At 5:15, for example, p.m. So consider this as at. Like for example, let me draw the line now. So let me draw the timeline, so it would be very easy for you guys to remember. Like for example, if you consider this as a long period, here consider this as a year, so this is year, then in, okay. So this long period is year, okay. And then so this year is divided into month is considered also the long period, in month, okay. And then day is considered as the shorter period compared to month, on day. And then if you are referring to the specific point of time in the day, let's say 5 a.m., then 5 a.m. at 5 a.m. long in, long year or decade in, long month in, or and seasons in, and then particular day on. And if you are talking to the particular point of the day, at. Like for example, if you divide the day also, so what generally the day is considered as morning, right? Afternoon, and then night, right? So now morning is considered also as a long period if you consider one particular day. Generally the morning start from, let's say what time, 6 a.m., right? 6 a.m. in the morning to 12 noon, right? So this is considered as the long period even. So in morning, okay. And then day is also considered as a long period. Like for example 12 noon to 6 p.m., for example, let's say, or 7 p.m., then this is also considered as afternoon, right? Day. So in afternoon. But night, maybe let's say after night, in evening is also considered as long period, in the evening, right? In, like for example after 8 p.m. you consider as at night, so night is at. So why night is at, I don't know. This is the rule. So let me sum up now. Let us sum up so that it will be easy for you guys to understand, so that you will not forget. So let me rub this. So to sum up, right? To sum up, long period, in, year, decade, long period, month, in, day, short period, on, particular point of the day, at. And then if you consider one day, within day there will be morning, there will be afternoon, there will be evening, and then there will be night. So morning, afternoon, or evening, in, night, at. So if you remember this, you will never make mistakes. Okay, so let's move to other so let's move to other concept. So at, for the exact time, right? So that's what we learn. And then on, for the specific day or days, Monday, 25th of July. In, for the month, year, centuries, long period, or even the seasons, right? And then since, from a specific point time till now, right? So like I'm living in Australia since 2010, right? Since 2015. So people will say like since or from. If there is a movement, only you use from. If not, if you are not there, if there is not a movement, and if you are referring to a specific point of time, then put since. Okay, for a duration, like for 3 hours, for 2 weeks, for a period, for a year, something like that, right? If you are referring to the duration. So generally the confusing part is in, on, and at. So I think you guys are clear here. So now preposition of place. Right. So if you are referring to the specific point of time, specific point of place, then put at, like at the door, at the bus stop, at the playground, right? So even now, when you are when you are there in the playground, if you say in, then you are inside here. If consider this as a playground, inside here. But if so, at could, you can stand here also, you can say at. If you stand here also, you can say at. Generally, if you are near, inside, already there, then you say I'm in the playground. If not, then if you are near to there, somewhere there, not inside the playground, and you will say at. Generally, so at the bus stop, at the school, at the playground. So those will all fall as at. Okay, on, for a surface, right? So for example, if that is a surface, and if it is on the top, then you say on. Right? In, it is already in the enclosed place. For example, it is the box here. It is the box here. So let me draw the box. So inside the box, there is a ball. Then you can say the ball is in the box. In the box, right? That's already inside in the closed room. And then under, below something, right? So this is the box, and there is a book here, for example. Then the book is under the table or under the box. Right, behind. So if the book is here, then the book is behind the box. So this is the box, and then it is behind, right? So preposition of media, platforms, and public transportation. This is the most important one, right? For example, on is used on the surface, screens, or platform. Let's say, for example, I saw your photo on Facebook or in Facebook. It is on Facebook. So for the media or the platforms, you always put on, like for example, on TV, on radio, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Tinder, right? Something like that, right? So all these, if you are using the media platforms, then use on. Okay. Screens or stuffs like that, on. So this is important, guys. Okay. The only exception is that if you are referring to something about the newspaper, then I saw your photo in the newspaper. Why? Only the exception is newspaper. Why newspaper? Newspaper is considered or treated like a container. Container, like this is the container, right? Container. So in newspaper, you will have the news, you will have advertisement, you will have photos, you will have pictures, you will have opinions. A lot of things will be there in one newspaper, right? So newspaper is considered as container. That's why only the only exception is here in newspaper. Otherwise, if you are referring to the platform, media, or services, then all put on. Okay, so this is the only exception. And then preposition of media, public transportations, right? So like the general confusion is on bus or in bus, like on plane aeroplane or in an aeroplane, right? So there's a simple concept here. If you are referring to that particular public transportations, and that in that particular public transportations, if you consider you can stand, pay attention to this picture, you can stand and walk here and there, then put on. If not, then in. Like for example, if you are referring to a bus, right? A bus. So inside bus, you can go and stand on the bus and then you can walk, right? From here to there, right? That's why on bus. If you are referring to the train, so in the train, right? Sorry, on the train, you can go, walk, and then stand and walk here and there, right? That's why on train. Similarly, ship. Similarly, the cruise. Similarly, the aeroplane. All will come at in. Like for example, but if you are referring to taxi, inside taxi, can you stand and walk? No, right? So that's why in taxi. In the car. In car. Like for example, this is car, right? So this is the car. And then this is car, right? So now you cannot stand and walk, no? Stand cannot, right? Walk cannot, right? That's why it. And boat, like there's a small boat, right? So this is the small boat. If you can you stand and walk? Can you stand but cannot walk, right? So that's why in the boat, right? So like motorbike, if you consider, you can ask me why you on the motorbike? Because you are on the surface of the motorbike, right? You are riding on the surface, so that's why on the motorbike. So just summing up for you guys, what is, you say on for the large transportations which you will be able to stand, big enough to stand and walk. If not, then we say in for the small locomotives, in the car, in the taxi. So this is important one. Okay, and then now let's move on. Preposition of direction. So like moving towards a place, like this is the school, like this is the school, and then you are moving, going towards. So that's why you put to, right? You put to. And then into, moving inside, walk into the room. Like for example, this is the room, and then there's a movement. So you are walking and going inside this closed room, then that should be into. But if you are already in the room, already there in the room, you say I'm in the room. You are not say I'm into the room. No, I'm in the room. So if there is a movement, put into or onto. If there is no movement, then put in or on. Like for example, and then let's see other examples also, right? And then onto, movement on the surface, to a surface, right? So jump onto the bed. So if you are there lying in the bed, you say I'm lying on the bed, but there's a bed here, you are jumping, there's a movement, so that's why onto the bed. I think it's clear now. Out of, movement from or inside the out of, right? Here and out of the, I think this is easy. From, starting point of the motion, right? She came from Paris. You cannot say she came since Paris. No, that's why movement should be there. If there's a movement, put from. If there's no movement, you can put since, right? Preposition of manner and method. By, method of transportation or communication, by car, by phone. I'm calling by phone, right? So I think this is easy. With use of instrument tools, cut with a knife, right? Lie. So runs like a cheetah, because resemblance or you are comparing, in that context you put lie. So as, functions or role, work as a teacher, right? So these are the rules. These are the rules, guys. Now just giving you some of the questions. We will meet him. Start. The question is, we will meet in, on, at Monday. So Monday, so this is day, consider a shorter period, so on Monday, right? He was born 1995, year, long period, in 1995. The keys are dash, table. So this is the table, and then we consider the keys is here. So keys are on the table, right? And then she left the office dash 6 p.m. We are talking about a specific point of time. That's why at 6 p.m. right? And then I saw it dash in Facebook or on Facebook? On Facebook, because media platforms will put on. Similarly, there are other examples that you can do on your own. Going to learn is determiners and conjunctions, adverbs and subordinating conjunctions. Okay, so don't go by this name. Okay, so don't go by this name. We don't need to like look after the topics. So let's go. Specific and general determiners, right? So what are determiners? Determiners are the word which come at the beginning of a noun phrase. They tells us whether a noun phrase is specific or general. Remember our articles, right? A, an, and the. So there are three types of article. A and an is indefinite article. The is definite article. Similarly, here the determiners, the specific determiners is the, and then possessive is my, your, like possessive my, your, his, her, something like that, right? Demonstrative is this, that, these, those. And then the general determiners is A or N. The important thing here that you guys need to know is, if you are using the definite article the, then that is a specific determiner. And if you are not using the specific determiners the, then that is other is the general determiners. Now we will learn what are the implications. So most important would be on the interrogative determiners, where to use which and what. Expect at least 1 or 2 question in the real exam. Like for example, the question will come like this: I like the city dash which or what is very beautiful. Very beautiful. Now you will say which or what, depending upon the context, right? Depending upon the rule you need to use. So that's why we are learning it, which or what. Okay. So the interrogative determiner, which or what, which is a specific determiner, meaning you already know that which you are talking to. Like for example, here are 3 books. Which book do you think is the most interesting? See, which comes. You will not say what book. So now you are comparing the interesting book among these 3 books only. You are not comparing with others. They have 4 boys. Which boy is the oldest? So among those 4 boys, you are referring to which one is the oldest one, right? I can't remember which house Janet lives in, because Janet lives in, this is specific. We already know. You cannot say what house, right? Which house. That is the correct way, because this is the specific one, because you already know the context and you need to choose in between or from the given options. Now, what is a general determiners? What food do you like? We don't know. There are no options, right? It is very general. We are not given with any options to choose. Because of that reason, you use what? I don't know what job she does. She could do engineering, she could do medical, she could do construction, she could do accounting, whatever it is, right? So we don't know. But I don't know which job she does. Either accounting, if you have given with the accounting, or engineering, then you should choose. I don't know which job she does, either accounting or engineering, because you are comparing in between accounting or engineering. But in this context, there is no options given. That's why what? Let's go and learn some of the assessment questions, right? Now you see which dash color do you prefer for the what? Blue or green. So now you need to choose between blue or green. That's why which. Next example could be, dash subjects are you taking in this semester? Which or what? Which semester we are talking to? Which subject? We don't know. That's why what? What is the correct answer? Dash dress you are going to wear to the party? The red one or the black one? Then the correct option is which, because you need to compare between the red or the black. You need to choose, sorry, not compare, choose. Dash movies do you like watching? Comedy or drama? So the tricky part is here it should be what? Why? Because comedy or drama is not specific. So here comedy, there could be lot of movie genre, right? Comedy and drama is the genre of the movies. There could be comedy, drama, fiction, arts, crime, whatever it is. But that's why this is what, because this is not specific. But if you are giving the option, dash movies do you like watching? Avatar or Titanic, for example, then it should be which. Why? Because you have the specific options here, Avatar or Titanic. But if you are given with the comedy or the genre, movie genre, which is not specific, that's why that is what. I hope you guys understand this one, right? It was the only tricky part, but apart from that, rest all are good. Okay. And then going down, this book is yours on the table. Which or what? Which book? Why? Because you are comparing with you are like choosing between the books that is on the table already. For example, on the table there are 3 books, like, and then out of these 3 books you will say which book is yours, right? That kind of music do you listen to? That kind of music do you listen to when you study? Which or what? What? Because we don't know. We are not given with the options to choose the music, right? That's your what. I hope it is clear. Now let's go on the rules of using conjunctive adverbs and subordinating conjunctions. You don't need to go for the definitions again, right? So conjunctive adverbs are the words like however, moreover, nonetheless, nevertheless, yet, something like that. And then subordinating conjunctions are the words like since, why, even though. Those are the words which, depending upon the context, that you need to use. Like for example, so like the conjuncting adverbs, it will use to show the contrast or additions, cause or effect. Generally, this will come with the independent clause. right? So what is independent clause? Independent clause is independent sentences which is already the complete sentence, right? And then subordinating conjunctions are the words that use like since, while, even though. Then this comes with the dependent clause, meaning dependent clause is not a complete sentence within itself. Like for example, since it was raining, what is, since it was raining, is this a complete sentence? No, right? So subordinating conjunctions will come with the incomplete or dependent clause, but conjunctive adverbs like moreover, however, nevertheless, nonetheless, it comes with the dependent clause, sorry, independent clause, which is already the complete. You don't need to go for the definitions. Okay, now let's go and see what are the implications. So if you are showing the contrast or concessions, you use the words like nevertheless, nonetheless, even though, however, right? So nevertheless and nonetheless or even though is basically the same thing, exactly same thing, 100% same thing. Okay, so like in the options, if you are showing there is a contrast between two ideas, if there is one idea and then there's one idea, and then you need to show the contrast or concession of that particular idea, and then complete, and then start with the sentence. Then in that context you use nevertheless, nonetheless, or even though, right? So basically all these are the same thing. If there is a fourth option except nevertheless, nonetheless, and even though, then the fourth option would be the correct one. Okay, so it shows the contrast or concession. Like the example would be, it was raining, nevertheless we went for a walk. It was raining, nonetheless we went for a walk. It was raining, even though we went for a walk. It shows the contrast. Generally, if it was raining, then the expectation is you should stay home, inside home, right? You should not go out. But if you are showing the contrast of this previous meaning, if you are showing the contrasting outcomes, then you use nevertheless, contrast or concession, right? And then the task was difficult, nevertheless she completed it on time. The task was difficult, even though she completed it on time. Basically the same thing. You are showing the contrast or concession. Okay. And then however is also same. You need to use when you are showing the contrast or concession, but generally however it can come from the start of the sentences, beginning of the sentences, it can come in between of the sentences, and then it can come at the end of the sentences also. Like for example, I wanted to go hiking, however it started raining. This is also correct sentence. She is very talented, she is however quite shy. See, the however come in between, right? So it is also the correct complete or the correct sentence. She passed the test, however. This is also the correct sentence or the complete sentence, grammatically correct sentence. So however can come starting of the sentence, in middle of the sentence, and at the end of the sentence. So this is the only difference. Generally, nevertheless, nonetheless, even though, this will only come at the start of the sentence or the beginning of the sentence. So that is the only difference. Apart from that, all these will show the contrast or concession of the previous ideas. So when solving the blanks, if the blanks has however, moreover, nonetheless, even though, in that context, at least you need to read both sentences. Like for example, you need to read one sentence and then there's a blank here, and then there's another sentence. In the blank you have however, even though, nonetheless, but, something like that, right? So in that context you need to read this full sentence and then this full sentence. If there is a contrast or concession, you use this. If there is like the additional information, then there should be something, the positive word here, not however, not more, not nevertheless, not nonetheless, maybe in addition, or maybe moreover, or maybe, for example, namely, similarly, whatever it is, right? These all, but this will show the positive sign. So nevertheless, nonetheless, even though, however, these all are contrast. And then if you are giving the examples, if you are showing something positive correlation, then in that context you use similarly, you use in addition. If you are making the point, if you are giving the examples, for examples, or for instance, or namely, all these will come supporting the previous idea. The gist is, so if you are solving if there is a blank, and if there are words like however, moreover, in addition, similarly, for example, so you need to read both of the lines before that blank and after the blank, so that you will get the idea what this sentence is trying to say, and then select the correct options. That is the key. Okay, so now let's move other concept, but and yet. So most of the people will also confuse with but and yet. So what is the but? But shows the contrast or the complete opposite. She is very talented, but she lacks confidence. So like generally the expectation is if the talented person should also possess the confidence, right? But she is very talented, but she has confidence. She lacks confidence. I want to go to work, but I'm very tired. See, shows the complete contrast, right? But yet will use if the result is surprising. Like for example, I don't study well, yet I passed PTE with 79 plus. Here you are not using but, because here the result is surprising. Generally, if you don't study well, then you are not expected to pass PTE with 79 plus, right? But even though you don't study well, but you passed PTE with 79 plus, then in that context you use yet, because the result is surprising. Generally, another example would be, we don't play well, yet we win the match. See, general expectation is if you don't play well, then you are not going to win the match, right? But despite not playing well, you win the match. Then in that context, when you want to write by using, then put yet, not but. So but, complete contrast. The only thing that you guys need to understand is but is the complete contrast, yet is the surprising result. Like for example, but complete contrast, yet surprising result. Okay, so in that context you use but and yet. Now contrast or concession, despite and in spite of. So this is also the most important concept, right? Despite and in spite of, you will get. So despite and in spite of is basically the same thing. So despite will only despite, in spite will come with of. So in the options, in the blanks, if you have despite and if you have despite of, then despite of is gone already, 100% wrong. Despite will only come with despite, and in spite will come with of. The application is same. So when you use despite or in spite of, after despite and in spite of, either noun phrase or gerund will follow. For example, despite raining, we went to a walk. Despite raining, see, this ing form of verb is acting as a gerund. You cannot write despite it is rained. No, this ed form of verb cannot come. So despite will follow either noun or noun phrase or gerund. Despite raining, we went to a walk. Despite I eat food, gone case. Despite eating, I am weak. Eating is ing form of verb, which is called as gerund. Despite of his injury. See, despite of his injury is noun phrase. Sorry, in spite of his injury, same thing. But if you want to write, if you don't want to use noun phrase, if you want to use gerund, that in spite of being injured, he played the match. See, of being injured. So this is ing form of verb. Ing came after in spite of or despite of, whatever it is. So remember concept. Despite will only despite, and in spite should come with of. Both of them are same. This should follow either despite, after despite and in spite of, it should follow either noun or noun phrase or gerund. So after despite and in spite of, only this possibility will only come. If there is a verb or ed form of verb, then despite, and you cannot use despite or in spite of. That is the only thing, guys. Okay, so let's quickly go on the examples. So like what is that? So I'm trying to show what is gerund, right? So what is gerund? Gerund is ing form of verb acting as a noun. So like for example, they are swimming in the ocean. This is one sentence. And then despite swimming nicely, he drowned in the pond. That is also another sentence. Now I'm giving you another sentence. Swimming is a fun activity. Okay, so now in these three sentences, it is also swimming, it is also swimming, it is also swimming. But here swimming is acting as a verb because they are swimming. It is showing the action that the people are doing, right? Despite swimming, here also swimming is coming as ing form of verb acting as a gerund here. Okay, acting as a gerund here. Now here in this sentence, swimming is a fun activity. Now swimming is acting as a noun here. It is denoting the noun here in is a form of activity, right? So like swimming, so like swimming is a fun activity, right? Fun activity. So is verb here. So swimming is acting as a noun. So Gerund is nothing but ing form of verb acting as a noun. Here also this is gerund. So this is not verb, this is gerund. This is acting as a noun. So the key takeaway here is gerund is nothing but ing form of verb who is acting as a noun. And then this is one application. Another application is gerund will connect the sentences. Like for example, fanboys will also connect the sentences, right? Now gerund will also connect the sentences. For example, a classic example would be I am running in a park, in the park, for example, in the park. Okay, this is one sentence. Now another, I am thinking of my son. Okay, so now these are two sentences. Now you want to connect the sentences. If you want to connect the sentences, you either you use fanboys, right? Fanboys. So how you connect? I am running in the park and I am thinking of my son. If you connect, use fanboys and then you can say I am running in the park and I am thinking about my son. Now, if you don't want to use gerund, sorry, if you don't want to use fanboys, but if you still want to connect the sentences, then use gerund. So now, if you want to connect these two sentences using gerund, then what the sentence would look like? Look here, I am running in the park thinking, thinking of my son. See, this thinking is ing form of verb. It connects two sentences to make one full sentence. So now the question is that if you want to connect those two sentences, but if you don't want to use fanboys, use gerund. So this, by using this concept, expect at least one or two blanks when solving the PTE blanks. So gerund, there are two applications. Gerund will act as noun, ing form of verb acting as a noun, that is one. And the another application is gerund will connect two sentences. If you don't want to use fanboys, then you can use gerund to connect two sentences. That's it. Let's learn how to use cause and effect, right? So if you have to write cause and effect, how you write? Since is used to show a reason or a cause, it is followed by a clause, right? It is also used to denote the time. Remember our example in preposition, we use since, right? If you are denoting some specific point of time. But here, since can also use for cause and effect. Like since it was raining, we stayed indoor. She is living here since 2019, right? Since it was raining, see? So it is cause and effect. If there is a cause, the cause was raining, the effect was we stayed indoor, right? So while if you are comparing happening two actions at the same time, and if you are comparing, you use while it used to show the two actions that are happening at the same time, right? So like she read a book while she cooked dinner. I am learning PTE while I am listening music, right? I am traveling while I am learning, while I am reading a novel. So if you are denoting, if you are trying to show two actions happening at the same time, you use while. So now I will give you 2 minutes for you to solve this. Warning from pediatricians and other health professionals that coffee and other caffeinated beverages like sodas or sports drink can be harmful to youth. Right? Now you need either despite of, since or over. So what would be the correct option here, guys? Dash years of warning. See, ing form of verb, right? Gerund is there. Now you should. So now you should say either despite or in spite of. Now let's go for the option despite and despite of. It's gone. Cannot use. Since is used. So cause and effect, or if you are denoting the specific point of time, cannot, right? Since cannot come, over cannot come, because that is not fitting in the context. So the only option that you left is despite and despite of. Despite of, you cannot, of will not come with despite, right? So the only option is despite. So despite years of warning, see, gerund ing form of verb is there, right? So that's why despite running blah 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 blah, right? So little ones toddlers to think those advantages, because children are usually smaller in body size. It takes less caffeine to that's their functioning. So just remember, whether the positive thing will come, positive question sentence will come, word will come, or negative word will come. Think. Something, right? Negative thing will come. Negative word will come. After 2, V1 will come. So if you are using for the grammar concept, after 2 B1 will come. Coexist, it is Bob B1, yes, it will stay. Replicate, it is B1, yes, it will stay. Impair B1, it will stay. Revert B1, it will stay. If you go with this 2 plus B1 concept, you are not going to solve. Now let's go for the positive negative concept. Here you need something, because if you are using or drinking this caffeinated beverage, it will have some sort of negative impact on your health, right? So what impact? We need to find out the negative word. Coexist, it is positive word, it will go. Replicate, it is, you can say neutral, okay, it will stay. Okay, replicate, it's kind of a neutral word, or at least positive word, you can say, it will stay. Impair, it is positive or negative? Negative. You need something negative, right? It will stay, right? Replicate, it is neutral, okay, that's why I'm putting here, it will stay. Revert is also kind of, you are coming back, right? You are answering something, it will positive, it will go. So now you need to check between replicate and impair. Now you need to like decide between replicate and impair. Now come back and see, because children are usually smaller in body size, it takes less caffeine to dash their functioning, impair their functioning, not replicate. Replicate is you are making two, right? Impair is something giving harm, you are degrading the quality, or you are degrading the quality, so that is called the impair. So that's why impair, okay, their functioning. And I hope it is clear now. And then let's go to the next option. So now, and significant amount for an adult would be dash for a small child. So now you need something positive or negative, could be dash for a small child. You need something positive or negative word here. You need something negative word, right? Because the amount that which considered to be significant for adults and insignificant for adults would be like a damaging for small child, right? So now you need something negative word. Now stubborn, is this negative word? Yes, it will stay. Overwhelming, it is negative word. Yes, it is stay. Groundbreaking, it is positive word, it will go. Best, it is positive word, it will go, right? So now you need to compare between the stubborn and overwhelming, right? Stubborn, is this stubborn for a child? No, right? Stubborn is something like, it's stubborn is not fitting in the context, right? You need something like which will have a significant impact or some sort of impact. And overwhelming for a child, because it is a kind of a strong response or strong effect. What you call it, overwhelming is like kind of a strong effect, I would say, right? Could be overwhelming for a small child, cannot be stubborn, right? Too much caffeine can cause increased heart rate, blood pressure, contribute to acid reflux, and a lot of effects are there. In very high doses, caffeine can be dangerous. Other problems with kids drinking coffee is that it's of little nutritional value, and that's something that could be nutritionally complete, such as milk and water. Think. In very high doses, caffeine can be dangerous. Other problems with kids drinking coffee is that it's of little nutritional value. So now the coffee will have very nutritional value, and it's dash something that can be nutritionally complete, such as milk and water, right? So what you need, whether it is positive or negative word here, you need something positive word here. Now changing is a positive word, yes, it will stay. Damaging, it is negative word, it will go. Replacing, yes, it is kind of positive word, it will display. Diverting, it is also negative word, it will go. Now you need to change between two words, changing or replacing. Now see, you need to dash coffee with something. You need to drink with something healthier, like milk or water, something healthier than what you are going to do. You will replace the coffee, right? You will not change the coffee. Changing from properties, one property, if you are changing the properties, then you would have changing, right? But here it is not changing, you are replacing coffee with something. That's why the correct option is replacing, right? So now see, this is what you need to read the context and understand it. Although the grammar will work, but the key is you need to understand the context. Here what I was trying to show here is, see, despite will come, because if you are using the grammar concept, warning is there, right? Ing form of verb is there, or gerund form is there. So the correct option is despite, here 1, and then impair, it is 2, and then overwhelming, it is 3, and then replacing, it is 4. Just put in the comment section how much you got. If you are getting 4 by 4, then you are outstanding. You are ready for this 85 in writing. So now let's learn what is demonstrative and quantifiers. Okay, by looking at the name or definition, you don't need to worry about it. Demonstrative is the word that we are demonstrating or we are pointing out towards something, right? And quantifiers are the words that is used for a noun which we quantify. Like for example, if I ask you like, uh, hello someone, do you have apples? Right? You can say, sir, yes sir, I have 1 kg of apple. Then if you exactly have 1 kg of apple, you will say yes, 1 kg of apple. But if you don't know like what is the quantity, you will say yes sir, I have some apples, or no sir, I don't have any apples. So things like that. So those words, any, some, so those are the quantifiers. Demonstratives are those which we are pointing, like this one, that one, those one, this one. So let's learn what is their applications. Okay, so definition you don't need to go, like demonstrative determines point or specific point of time. So now the important thing is singular. Like for example, if when you are standing here and then you are pointing out towards one noun, for example, this is the car, okay, and then this is one car here, okay, there's a two car here, okay, for example, and then there is one car here and then another car here, the near one, okay. So now you have to here to, and then there's a far one car here. So now you need to point out. So if you are standing here and then you are pointing out to the near car, that's one car, then you can say this car. Okay, so if the noun is singular and near, you should say this. If the noun is singular and far, you should say that, because that, the far one, right? And then if the car is single near, but there is more than one, maybe plural car, then you can say these cars. And then if the noun is far and then plural, then you can say those cars. Those, or car is noun here. Okay, so now the concept is, right, if the noun is singular and it's singular and it is near this. If the noun is singular, sorry, plural and it is near, those. If the noun is plural and far, that is those. If the noun is singular and that is far, that is that. That's it. Singular, this near, that far. Plural, these near, those far. So this book is mine, meaning we expect that it is very close and there is only one book. Those cars are expensive, meaning, so I would assume that it is more than one car and which is very far. And so the logic to identify, check the numbers, right? Singular or plural, check the distance, if it is near or far. It is because of the time or space or distance, okay? So it's because of the time also. Sometimes yesterday, the day before yesterday, last year. So those are the far time. Like for example, now, currently, here, today is the near one. And then distance, that distance, right? So I didn't need to explain. This for something near. We already know that those for something far. Like for example, this car, a car near to the speaker. These cars, many cars near to the speaker. That car, a car far from the speaker. You remember the diagram that we just learned before, then it will help you to remember and memorize it. So fill in the blank step, plural and nearby. These singular and distance, that I think we already know. So now what are quantifiers, right? So quantifier are the word used before a noun to indicate quantity or amount. As in our previous example, like let's say, so now another example could be like, I ask you, hey, do you have some sugar? Or do you have sugar? I say, and then you say, yes, I have 1 kg of sugar. If you have exactly 1 kg, then you can say 1 kg of sugar. There is no need to use quantifier here. 1 kg is the quantifier, sorry. And then if you have sugar but you don't know how much quantity it is, then in that case, like for example, this is the sugar jar you have, and this is up to here, you have the sugar, and I'll say, hey, do you have sugar? Then you say, yes sir, I have some sugar, or I didn't have any sugar. So this any sum is the quantifier, right? So let's learn what, because in English language, quantifier a lot, there are a lot and lot of quantifier, but we will learn today which are like kind of important one, I would say, which is applicable for PTE test. Okay, so like countable nouns, so in count, so like sugar here is uncountable noun, and then apple here is a countable noun, right? So the quantifiers differs based on the countable or uncountable noun. For example, countable noun you can use many, a few of you, or several. Uncountable noun you can use much, little, or little. And for both you can use any, a lot of, lots of, plenty of, no, all, almost, right? So let's see the example. So this example will help you to understand very clearly. So many or few student pass the test. So student is countable noun. So for example, many and few is you can use for all the countable nouns. Remember all the countable nouns to denote many and few. Like for example, the another example could be much or little sugar. Sugar is uncountable noun, right? So much or little can be used all uncountable noun. For example, sugar, for example, water, for example, hair, for example, sand. All those are uncountable nouns, right? So you can use much or little. If you want to denote the higher quantity, use much. If you want to denote the lower quantity, use little. Like similarly for many or few, like students, right? Many, if you want to denote the higher quantity of the countable noun, use many. Lower quantity of the countable noun, use fewer. Many student, much sugar. So this is your Bible. Many students, much sugar. Okay. Now logic to identify, quantify. Step 1, identify the noun is countable or uncountable. That is the important one, most important one. You need to identify if that is countable or uncountable and choose the appropriate quantifier. Remember, many student, many or few student, that's for countable. Much or little sugar, that is uncountable. Okay. So now another thing is that, like, so so you some use of any and some. Okay, so you can use any if there is a negative or the answers you expect it to be negative. Like for example, do you have, I don't have any sugar, right? So if you say that you don't have any sugar here, then in that context you will say I don't have any sugar. You will not say I don't have some sugar, right? So any is used in the negative sense, right? If you expect the answer to be negative, use any. If the answer to be positive or affirmative, put some. Like for example, I have some sugar left, right? So something like that. I have some apples, right? You have some apple, meaning you have some apple, maybe one or two, or I don't know how much, but something is there. So some is used for the positive affirmation, any is for negative affirmation. That's the thing that you need to know. And then common, another confusion would be of you or few, right? So of you, let's say again, it's a positive, meaning you have something left. Of you is almost none. Like let's say I have a few apples, then I would assume that you have one apple or two apples. You say I have few apples, then I would assume you don't have any apples. So similarly, like any or some, of you is like some, and then any is like few. Okay. So like, and then again, or little and little. Or little is again, if you expect the positive outcome, then you put or little. And then if you put only little, that's almost none, right? So example, few people attended, meaning no one attended. A few people attended, meaning some come. So remember, a few, right? So some and any is negative and some is kind of positive. Similarly, a few is positive, few is negative. Okay, a little is positive, little little is positive, a little is, sorry, a little is positive, little is negative. So I will ask you, right, in this way I will ask, I have a question. Do you think the money is countable or uncountable noun? Money, can you count money? Countable or uncountable? Think about it. I hope you have thought about it. Money in English grammar is always uncountable noun. You cannot count money. So you will never say money, right? So money, do you have some money? Do you have little money, right? So I don't have any money. So I have much money? You will not say I have many money. No, you will say I have much money, right? So money in English language is uncountable noun. So sometimes you can pluralize it, like in a legal context, like monies. So those is there, but that is kind of, that's not the standard academic English. Okay, I mean, I would say, right, money is uncountable noun. That's not something that you need to know. So fill in the blanks strategy. Identify the noun before the blank. Check if it's singular or plural, countable or uncountable. Use the context, distance, quantity, tone, right? Eliminate. So those are some. So let's learn about some of the questions. I have read dash books in this topic. Books is countable noun and plural. So now you need to have much or many, some or little. Many, you remember our concept, many students. It's like many students. So many books. Okay. Similarly, dash water is left in the bottle. Water is uncountable noun. So then how much or how many? Many is for countable noun. So cannot come. Now how much is left? Few and any cannot come because we are asking the question. So now how much? And then dash student came last yesterday. This, that, those are those. These are those. Now class yesterday. So yesterday is long one. Long period, right? So now these student. Sorry, those student. Those student. Those is far and plural. Right? Those is far and plural. And then dash information was helpful. Information is uncountable noun. So now few of you, much or many. So much is used for countable noun. Few can be few is for uncountable noun. Few or few. So now here the was helpful, right? It is positive affirmation. Now you need something with a bigger quantity. Now many or much information, like much sugar, much information. And then these are dash pencil in the box. A little, few, many, much. So now pencils, right? You have many pencils, right? I mean, quantity is much, may like higher quantities, right? And then pencils is countable. Now little or little cannot come, few cannot come because we have some bigger quantity. Then many or much difference. Pencil is like countable noun, like many students. So many pencils. I hope it is clear now, guys, right? So now I'll give you 2 minutes to solve this one. I hope you have solved it and let's learn it, right? Although the seminar was widely advertised, only dash people attended, people turn up at the venue. So only dash, right? So now it was, even though it is widely advertised, we need something that only some people, only the less amount of people or less quantity of people attended. So in that context, now people is what? People is countable now. So now you need to find many concept of many student now, right? Many people turned up at the venue. No, because we say only some. Then opposite of many, how? Few. Then few, let's say few or a few. Few is like almost zero. A few is like maybe some, one or two, right? So now the context of few. A few people turn up at the venue because some cannot come, a little cannot come, right? And then turn up at the venue. It was surprising because dash effort has gone into the preparation. Effort. So effort, it is countable or uncountable? It is uncountable now. It is like much sugar, right? So now because many cannot come, it is not countable. Several cannot come, it is used for countable. Any cannot come, it denotes like negative quantity, right? We are not saying anything in negative. Here we say like we have done a lot of preparation. So now it is, and the only option left is much. Much effort had gone into the preparation. The organization has prepared dash materials. Materials is countable now. It's like many students. Now, much, a few, a little, no. We all want this something positive here. The positive is much and many. So much cannot come because it is for uncountable noun. Countable noun is material. That's why many. Okay, so this cannot come because we are not expecting the negative sense here. For participants and arrange for several so arrange for refreshments. However, dash of the expected guest responded. So now there was a lot of preparation and then a lot of people were invited, but however, dash of the expected guest responded. Some of them are here. Now you need something kind of a negative sentence, right? However, and then negative and guest. Guest is countable. Now must, many, much cannot come. It is uncountable. It is used only for the uncountable nouns. Guests are countable now. So now you are left up with the must, few, or many, right? Many cannot come because we are thinking, we are trying to have a negative sense here because some only few people have been responded, right? So many cannot come. Now left is must or few. Must is also denoting the bigger quantity, right? Cannot come. So the only option left is few. However, few of the expected guests responded and dash seats were left empty. Seats is now again countable. Now you need to denote the higher number of seats that left empty. Now you need to need something positive one, right? So some can stay, many can stay, a few cannot come, few cannot come because these are the negative portraying quantifiers. So now dash seats were left empty. So now you are trying to denote that a lot of seat. Now what is the appropriate quantifier here? Some or many? Many, right? Many will denote a lot higher quantity compared to some. It will denote maybe 2 or 3 or 4, but here we are saying like for example 500 guests were responded invited. Out of that maybe 100 have confirmed. Out of 100 maybe 50 has come. Now remaining 450 seat were left empty. So that is what the context. That's why the many seat were left empty. So I would leave this guys for you to solve by yourself, and I will write the answers in the comment section later. Okay, so you can take another 2 minutes for you guys to solve this one. So next concept is voice. Okay, so active and passive voice. So in English grammar, right, so there are two type of voice. One is active voice and another one is passive voice. Okay, so what is active voice? Okay, so the active voice, the way the sentence is written, where the emphasis is given to the doer or who performs the actions, whereas in the passive voice the emphasis is given to the receiver of the action. Like for example, focus in active voice, focus on the doing the action. For example, the chef baked the cake. Now the focus is on the chef, right? What the chef is doing, the chef baked the cake. For example, similarly in the passive voice, the subject received the action, meaning the focus, the sentence structure is written in such a way that the focus is given to the receiver of the action. So for the same thing, we should say the cake was baked by the chef. See, the cake, the emphasis on the cake. The cake was baked by the chef. So while writing these two sentences, you would have noticed one pattern. Here there is no B3. Here there is the B3, right? Past participle or the best B form of the verb plus past participle. Was, is, was, were, am, has, have, had. All these are the B form of the verb. B is the base form and then it derives is, was, are, am, everything. So here the shape, the focus is on the doer of the action, the focus is on the receiver. Here the cake is receiving the actions, that is being baked. So that's the only thing, guys. So active, focus on the doer, passive, focus on the receiver. In passive there will be be form of the verb plus past participle in the sentence. That's it. If in the sentence, if there is a be form plus past participle, consider this that 100% that is the passive. Like for example, so structure subject plus verb plus object, that is for the general, the active voice. Like for example, the cat, this is the subject, chased the mouse. We are written in the B2, right? In the past tense, the cat chased the mouse. So the cat is the subject, chase is the verb, and the mouse is the object, right? So if here the focus on who is doing the action, here the cat is doing the action. Now if we want to convert this subject, this sentence into the passive form, you can say how we write the mouse was chased by the cat. See, was plus this is b form of the verb, this is b3, right? So the mouse, the previous object mouse become the subject. Now the mouse was chased by the cat, the previous subject become the object. The only context is like you have b form of the verb plus b3. That's the only thing, guys. Okay, so in various tense form you can see like in the simple present, he bakes the cake, the cake is baked. He baked the cake. In the simple past, the cake was baked, right? In the past present past tense, sorry, in the continuous form, you say he is baking a cake. So this is the present continuous tense, right? The cake is being baked by him. Is being, so is being, so this is the be form of the verb, right? Is being, be is the be form of the verb. He was baking a cake. The cake was being baked by him. So this was the past. Okay, so for rest of the question type, rest of the tense form you can do by yourself. Now let's learn the assessment. Let's learn to identify which tense form is this, right? The letter was written by Sarah, right? So now the letter was written, so be form of the verb plus b3, so this is passive form. So even if you don't put Sarah here, the letter was written, this is still the correct sentence. John plays the guitar every morning. John plays the guitar. Why? Because there is no be form plus b3, then this is the active voice, right? This is the active voice and this is the passive voice. The project will be completed by next week. See, the project will be completed. This is b3, right? b3, and then this is b form of the verb. So now this is passive voice. So see, so if you see the pattern here, generally if the sentence is starting with the non-living thing, then generally it will be passive. Generally, because non-living things cannot perform the action. See, similarly the project will be completed. Someone need to go and complete the project, right? The project cannot complete by itself. So that's why generally if the sentence is starting with the non-living thing, it will be generally, in majority of the cases, it will be the passive form. They built the house in 2010. They built, right? So this is something should be done in the house. So here the focus is on the doer, and then there is no be form plus b3. That's why it is active form. The window was broken during the storm. The window was broken. See, the window was broken. Something, the storm performed the action here. See, again, as I told you, right? So the storm is also non-living thing, but here storm is doing the action. Generally, right? Generally, what I said before, that if the sentence is starting with the non-living thing, it will be passive. Generally, but not 100%. Here, similarly, the storm is performing the action. So here was plus b3, then this should be passive form, right? The teacher explained the lesson clearly. Right, the teacher explains the lesson clearly. Now teacher is doing the action. There is no b3 form or there is no b form, so now it is active. The food is being served. Now food is being served. This is passive. Why? Because he is being beam plus b3 will be the, so someone is serving the food here, right? He watched a movie last night. We watched a movie last night. We watched. So there is general, this simple English, or there is no past participle plus b form, so then it is the active voice because we are doing the action. So the book has been read by many students. The book has been read. So something is doing on the action to the book. So now it is past part. What you call is passive form. She is cooking dinner. So now it is active voice. So now let's learn another concept called tense. Okay. So tense is very much important in English, in PT test, as well as in any other English test, as well as when you are speaking, when you are writing, or when you are dealing in day-to-day in English environment settings, right? So this is the summary of the tense in English grammar. So there are three tense: present, past, and future. So these are the tense type. And then in between the present, past, and future, there are tense forms: simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. So these are four forms. You don't need to like go on this, these types. Okay. So and then these rules we'll learn like the real application in PTE test. So when it comes to the simple tense, always there will be, in if it is a present, then there will be always the first form of the verb. If it is a past, there will already the second form of the verb, be2, and then if it is future, there will be first form of the verb again, but will, shall, should, could, all this will come. Remember, in future you will always have will, shall, could, can, all those modal verbs. Okay, in future, if you say future, there will be will, and if you say past, there will be be2. Not only be2, like generally be2, right? And in the simple past. And then in the present form, generally bin. In the simple present, it is the first form of the verb. If you say continuous, always ing form of verb will be there. Ing form of verb will be there. See, ing, will ing. If it is a perfect, have, has plus b3 plus had plus b3. This is for the past, this is for the present. So this is the most important thing where people make mistakes. We will invest significant portion of time here learning this, the difference between has, have, and had. And then if it is like perfect future perfect, then will plus have, has. And continuous, have been, has been plus ing. Past present continuous, have, has plus ing, had been plus verb ing, will have been plus verb ing. So if it is continuous, remember, if it is continuous, always ing will be there, always ing will be there. And if it is a future, always will, shall, should, can, could will be there. So these two are like the defining one. And let's learn the application. Okay, so you don't need to worry. Okay, you don't need to worry. So this is all about the grammar shortcut. So this is what we are going to learn. After is, was, are, were, am, either b3 will come, either bing will come, either adjective will come. For example, she is singing, see ing form of verb. They are gone, see gone is b3, right? Is, see, this is after are, right? And then after is singing is come, right? And then adjective, he is handsome, he is ugly, right? Handsome is adjective. And then so this is what it is. So this is the gist. So in while solving the blanks, if you see like is, was, are, where, and after that there is a blank, then you should see the options: either ing will come, or b3 will come, or adjective will come. That's the only possibility. So after has, have, had, only b3 will come, right? So comes, he has done, right? He has done. So see, has plus b3, right? Has, have, had plus b3 can. And then after has been, have been, had been, then either b3 or bing or adjective comes. So basically this one and this one is the same thing. Peter has been playing guitar, the guitar, right? And a book has been written. Sita has been nice to her boss. See, nice is a adjective, right? So all this, so this is the gist, but we are going to learn like how to apply those grammar concept in day-to-day operations and then learn it. Okay. So now let me go. Simple present tense. Okay, so simple present tense, it is used to denote the fact, habit, and regular action. For example, she writes every day. See, so this is her habit, right? For example, the sun rises in the east. For example, that is the fact. That is true in the India, true in Nepal, true in Australia, true in the US, or true in everywhere, right? So those kind of fact or regular actions or habits then always used to write in the simple present tense. So this is the important, guys, like you need to identify on which tense your grammar shortcut, I mean grammar blanks is there. So based on that, if you understand right on which tense it is written, then it will be very easy for you to solve the blanks. So like for example, you can look the tips for always, often, every day, for simple present tense, right? So for example, the shortcut would be the sentence formation or the structure would be subject plus be1. And then simple past tense are used to denote those actions which happen in the past and finish in the past, does not have any significance to the present. For example, it describes the completed action in the past. Like she wrote a letter yesterday. With our example, right? She wrote a letter yesterday. So yesterday she wrote a letter and then she finished it, done and dusted. See? and then C is subject, and then wrote is B2. See, wrote, right? Look for the past times, yesterday, last week. So generally, so this time clause will be there. Use a verb, past subject plus B2, right? So this is what it is. So you need to understand, in the simple past tense, we talk about the activity which happened in the past, finished in the past, nothing significant to the present. Started in the past, finished at the past, we are talking at the activity. I played football yesterday. For example, yesterday you played football. Done and dusted. Okay, so simple future tense, again describe the action that will happen in the future. Similarly, if this is the future, will come, that is I'll saying, right? She will write a letter tomorrow. So see, again in our example, will plus b1. See, will plus b1, right, is b1, right? Letter tomorrow, tomorrow is the future day, future time, right? So always there will be generally the future time. Look in the future time, tomorrow, next week, next year, coming weeks, coming months, stuffs like that. Okay, will plus best form of the verb, will plus be. Okay, present continuous tense. So continuous, if I told you, right, if it is continuous, that then we'll put ing. So continuous is like we are describing the action which is happening now, like for example describing the actions happening right now or around the current time. For example, she is writing a letter, ing. So now she is writing the letter. So he is writing. She's still doing it. So if you are going to do denote those kind of things, then you use present continuous tense. For example, I'm teaching grammar, I'm teaching tense, I'm teaching, right? So if you are denoting those actions which is happening now, you can write a letter. Sorry, you can use present continuous tense. What is the form of present continuous tense? Subject plus be plus ing. So ing is also fourth form of the verb, right? Look for the time is now at the moment. So this is happening now. Is am is are plus verb ing. So this is what it is past continuous tense, which describing an action in the progress at a specific time in the past. For example, she was writing when I call. So like for example, you are now today, and then you are denoting an action, and then she was like happening, writing the letter, and then something happened. So you are describing this situation, then you use past continuous tense. So before the another action happens, like for example, she was writing when I call. So she was writing, then I call her. So in that situation, the action in the progress at a specific time in the past. So like for example, look for the time clues while, when, right? She was writing a letter when I called. The action is was, where plus verb. She was playing football until her leg got injured. She was she was playing a guitar until her mother interrupted her. So those kind of things. So was plus where plus verb. Okay. And then future continuous tense, you will describe an action that will be happening at the future specific time. Like for example, she will be arriving at 5 p.m. Will be plus ing, continuous ing, future will be there, right? So will be plus verb ing. So she shows the ongoing future actions. Present perfect tense. So this is something that we need to learn. Like for example, present perfect tense is the tense, right? So will denote those actions which happen in the past but still have the current significance. So this is the most important, guys. Like for example, something happened last time and then currently the significance is there. For example, I have fallen in the hole and my legs are still hurting. For example, you have fallen, right? You have fallen. This some have plus b3. See, fallen, right? So you have fallen in the hole when you are when on the road, for example. When you are walking, you just fall down, but still because of that reason, your leg is still hurting. So if you are want to describe those scenario which happened in the past, still have present significance, that in that context use present perfect tense. So present perfect tense can happen the action that happened past, but still that is relevance to the present. Like for example, she has written 3 letters. So here, right, has written. So she has written 3 letters. She has completed. Still that letter has significance. Okay. And then so look for the time clause yet already seen for. So have has plus past participle. Like for example, this we can also use to share our experiences. Like for example, I have visited Paris. For example, I have visited Paris. If you say you have visited Paris, it is true. Yesterday it is true. Now it will be true for future also, right? So if you are want to experience or express your life experiences, you can also use present perfect tense. So remember, in present perfect tense, subject plus have has plus P3, it will come for those actions that happen in the past still have the current significance. So like for, and then you used to use talk about your experiences. So that experience still is the same, right? Still the same. So remember, and then the time clues, remember that there should be the action that happened in the past, but still having the current significance. For example, I have lost my job. So maybe when? Maybe last week, I still feeling bored, right? I'm still feeling like I have completed the PTE test with 79 plus, meaning you completed the PTE test last week, but still you are feeling proud of yourself. So those action happen in the past, but still having the current significance. So past perfect tense, the only difference is that here had plus B3. Okay, had plus B3. It we used to denote those actions in the past, denoting two different actions. Out of that, which actions happen first, you put had in front. Like for example, let's say you were going to the office and then meeting start at 3 p.m. for example, okay, and then you reach by 3:15 p.m. So now you are currently today and you have to describe these two situations. So now out of these two situations, which one happened first, you put had. Rest you can, and for rest of the action you can use past participle. Like for example, I by the time I reached office, the meeting had already started. See, had started. See, so now you reach meeting. Yes, sir. You reach office at 3:15, but meeting started by 3 p.m. already. Then you should say by the time I reached office. Here you don't need to put had. You can just put simple V3, and then the reach the office. The meeting had already started. So now this happened first, right? Meeting happening first 3 p.m. and then you reach office at 3:15 p.m. So now you put had in the meeting started. You don't put had when you reach the office. So this, out of these two actions that happen in the past, which one happened first, put had. For another action you put normal past participle. So that is the context, guys. So generally in your when you are describing the past perfect tense, there should be two actions, and then out of that two actions which happened first, you put had in front of that past participle to denote that action which happened first. Rest you can write as it is. That's it. Describe an action completed before action, another action happened in the past, right? So like, so another example could be, for example, she had written the letter before I arrived. So here in this context, writing the letter is one action, and then I arriving there, I going there is another action. So now when I reach there, she had already written the letter. So now I put had written the letter before I arrived. So I don't say I had arrived again, because I'm not going to put this had in front of this participle, because arriving there is the second. The first action is writing the letter. Okay. Similarly, had plus past participle plus ability help to show the sequence of the event in the past, right? Future perfect tense describing an action that will be completed before a certain future time. Like for example, she will have written the letter by noon. So now, so this is what it is. So the future perfect tense, okay, it's okay, no need to worry much, because we already know she will have plus past participle, right? So the action completed before a deadline. Past perfect continuous tense show an action that started in the past and is still continuing. Like for example, she has been writing for 2 hours. So she started to write it 2 hours. She is writing. Currently now also she is writing. So if you are trying to denote those kind of actions, then you need to use present perfect continuous tense. So like for example, the could be she has had been plus B3. So continuous again, ing will come, and if it is a present perfect tense, then it should be have been, has been, had been, right? So sorry, not had been. Past perfect continuous tense, again had been, same thing. Showing a continuous actions during that was happening before another past action. She had been writing for an hour before lunch. So now, so here she had been writing, and then another action happened, right? So she had been writing for an hour before lunch. Had been writing before an hour before the lunch. She had been plus bye-bye. Showing a continuous actions duration that was happening before another past action. So if we are denoting this duration, if you are trying to talk about this duration, then we use past perfect continuous tense. shows the ongoing past action within a duration, right? So on this duration, we need to describe with this duration. Future perfect continuous tense, describing a continuous actions that will continue up until a point in the future. Like for example, she will have been writing for 2 hours by 5 p.m. So there should be any specific point of time will be given there for the future perfect continuous tense. Will have been plus verb ing. Again, continuous, if there is a continuous ing will be there. Perfect, have been, has been, right? Focus on the duration before a future time. So like again, in the past we are describing about this duration, right? In future we will describing only this duration from here to here. So in this context we will using future perfect continuous tense. So now the question, I'll give you 2 minutes, 1 minute, sorry, and then try to solve this. I hope you solve this. Let's do. She dash always dreamed of becoming a pilot. She has, have, has, had, have, having, right? So now what would be dash always of becoming pilot? She has always dreamed of becoming a pilot, because this is the past perfect tense, right? So now if you are talking about something in the past perfect tense, you need to have has, have plus b3. Now she is singular, now has. She has always dreamed of becoming a pilot, right? Now that she dash her training, she dash is finally ready. Now currently she dash completed her training. She completed, has completed or completes. What is the one? So now again, now this is like present perfect tense. Now in present perfect tense you need to push had plus b3. Complete cannot come, completed cannot come because it is the b2, right? Past actions, and then does not have any significance. But now she does training, still that training has significance, meaning you need to write something present perfect tense. So has complete. Now that she has completed her training, she dash is finally ready. She is, because she is. Now currently we are talking about the present tense, right? She is finally ready. Her family dash supported her from the beginning. Her family supported. If she says supported, then she would have supported last year, last in past, but she is not supporting now. They are not supporting now. No, that is not the context. Her family has supported her from the beginning. Has supported, right? Has supported. Cannot keep supports, is not supported, or support cannot come. So just think, right? So when she was young, she saw one pilot fly, one aeroplane flying, right? And then she go to her papa and say, Papa, I want to be a pilot. And then Papa said, don't worry, beta, I will help you. So by the time so now the context is she has always, so now from 5 years she was dreaming to become a pilot. Still she is dreaming to become the pilot, right? Still that dream is the significance. So that's why she has dreamed of becoming a pilot. Now that she completed her training, so now because she wants to be a pilot, now she completed the training, right? So that training still have the significance on her career. That's why she has completed her training and she is finally ready. Now her family has supported. Why has supported? Because her family keep on supporting when she was 5 years old. Now still supporting, right? The past action that happened in the past, that is still having the significance. That's why has supported. I want to be very clear here. I think you guys are clear. So for rest of the questions you can do by yourself. So guys, after like around 3 hours of video related to all the grammar concepts that we are going to use in while solving the PTE fill in the blanks, as well as all other modules of PTE. So now I'm going to summarize all those concepts in 5 minutes with all these grammar shortcuts. So pay attention to this. So these are the most important rules. So like after the, noun will appear. Like for example, the boy, right? So the boy, after the, noun will come. So the, and then boy. So the is article, right? Definite article. So after the boy, the moon. So after the, if there is a blank, then your eye should goes only to that option, which is noun. Okay. And then after two, modal verb can quote. After two or modal verbs, only v1 will come. Remember our concept of gerund in infinitive that we learned. So this is called as the infinitive. After two or shall, should, can, could, all this modal verb, or after two, only v1 will come. You cannot say two went, right? You will say two go. You say two drink, you can say two drank. Okay. Two sleep, you can say two sleeping. No, right? Two slept, no, right? So after two, only v1 will come. So remember, after 2, if there is a blank, then your eyes should go only to that v1 option. Okay. After a noun, verb appears. Like for example, he runs. After a noun, verb appears. He runs very fast, right? So he is noun or pronoun, whatever you call it. After he, that is runs. See, run is noun. So he runs because of the subject verb agreement. Remember that she runs, they run, right? So he runs very fast. And then before a noun, adjective can come. Like for example, noun, this is a girl is a noun, and then before a noun, adjective. Beautiful is adjective, right? The beautiful girl, the handsome boy, something like that, right? After a noun, again adjective can also come. So it is before noun, after noun. So a lot of confusion. Don't worry, okay? You will get it through. So try to understand the context here, try to understand the compositions, then you will know. Like for example, after a noun, adjective can also come. Like for example, when it is, are, am, where is used. So adverb generally ends in ly, like for example, and it comes for a verb, right? He runs quickly, or he quickly runs. So running is verb. He quickly runs. Quickly can come in front also, and then quickly can come after also. So generally, right, adverb ends in ly and it describe verb, or it can come. It can describe another adverb also, or it can describe adjective also. And adjective can also come for an adjective, like for example, sorry, adverb can come also for adjective, like for example, she is extremely beautiful. See, extremely is adverb, beautiful is adjective. So now this extremely is saying what, how beautiful she is, right? And then third person singular in present form, take yes. Remember our subject verb agreement concept. He runs, or machine stores, or computer stores, or whatever it is, right? House stores, or something like that. He runs, they run. After is, was, are, were, am, either BING will come, B3 will come, adjective will come, right? So he is singing, is plus ing will form is coming, are plus B3 is coming here, and then is, after is, adjective is coming here. So after is, was, are, were, am, then BING, B3 or B adjective. So if there is a blank after is, was, are, were, am, then your eyes should go to the options which contains either BING or B3 or adjective, right? After has, have, had plus B3 will come, right? He has done. So after has, have, had, B3 will come. Depending on the context, then you will use it, right? And then after has been, have been, had been, either BING will come, B3 will come, adjective will come. For example, Peter has been playing guitar, a book has been taken, Sita has been nice to her boss, something like that, right? After modal verb, B1 will only come. Remember our concept, B1. So she can run, she runs, he should run, he could run, he can run, something like that, right? And then he should run, so he runs. So now see, after he, there is no can, could, shall, should, that's why yes is coming, because of the subject verb agreement. Because but if there is a modal verb, then this subject verb agreement will not hold, only the B1 will come. After B plus B3 plus adjective, PNG can come. She will be dancing, right? She will be fast, he will be fast. If it is uncountable noun, a singular noun, then use a on. It is countable singular noun, use a on, right? So remember the concept, a book, an umbrella. So this is, it's what the sound it makes, right? So a and n is the definite article, indefinite article, and after on, and that's why that is coming here. So should that be like eagle, then should be an eagle, right? So if you have to write eagles only, you can write eagles only, because this is the singular plural noun. There is no, it is not coming a or an. For uncountable noun, don't use a or an. You can use the, like for example, the sugar, right? So the sugar can come, but you cannot say a sugar, right? A sugar can come, because it is not countable. After one of the, always plural noun, but the entire entity is singular. Like for example, one of the phones is dead, one of my friends is very handsome, right? One of the houses that I used to live is very near to the church, something like that. So one of the will call always comes with the plural noun, but the entire entity is created as singular one. After apostrophe or after it's, his, her, your, so after, so like it's is kind of a possession. It's it apostrophe yes is it is, like it's tail, right? It's house, or it's computer, or it's uh, something like that, right? So it's is a possession, it apostrophe yes is it is. Like you cannot say it's house, you cannot say it's it, you can say it yes house. If you say it yes house, then it says that it is house, it is house. But if you say it yes house, then it's a it's house, so that house belong to that person. Okay. After by, use ing, like generally. So by is showing the mode or media of doing the things. I will read by using a computer. See, by using, so it's something you are using it. After you can use though, while for the contrast, like even though I run fast, I was late. So though, right, while I ran fast, I was late. So though while you can use it for the contrast. So despite or in spite of will contrast but with a noun or noun phrase alone. So either noun phrase or gerund, or it will come. Despite studying, I failed. In spite of my hard work, I failed. Like in spite of my hard work. So this is the noun phrase. Despite studying, this is gerund, ing form of verb. So despite will have only despite, in spite will come with of. So these are the grammar concept, guys. If you know this grammar concept, then it will be very handy for you to solve the blanks.